Hello pipers, and welcome to episode 3 of my pipe collection tour, where we go through every single pipe. I tell you way too much stories about it, but you seem to enjoy it. I like the feedback on the first couple of videos. So this episode is going to be dedicated only to Dunhill pipes, right? I have probably around 15, 16 of them right now. But I decided not to dip into other brands because I have a lot to talk about this one, and I have such a love-hate relationship with Dunhill, and also me getting those pipes was a bit of a journey that I want to tell you all about. And yeah, but let's first of all start with housekeeping, right? Let me show you what pipe I'm gonna be trying to smoke today. And this pipe is also not a random one, right? It has very big significance when it comes to my Dunhills, and it is gonna be a very cheap, let's see if we can focus, a very cheap, I thought for the longest time that was a Parker Jockey Club pipe, but now when I look at it, it might be a Comois one. Like, you can see the London made and the Jockey Club stamps, but no other stamps are seen on this pipe. And I think I got it for, I would say under 10 euros, so probably like 6-7 euros, 8 maybe. And this pipe single-handedly was the biggest gatekeeper for me getting Dunhills, right? Or for I'm even gonna say it a little bit differently, for Dunhills getting into my collection, because normally I have my rules, right? So if a pipe smokes well, I don't care if I like the brand or not, and if it's a good pipe, I give it the chance. So let me just light it up and see how it goes. All right. We have a little bit of a backdrop change again. I think I mentioned it in my last video that wasn't like a collection video, it was just like an update, but I like it here more. I have my wobbly table, so if you see the mic moving, I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to keep it as still as possible. I'm very determined to learn how to smoke a pipe and present, which is a skill that proves to be very hard for me to learn. I gotta keep talking and take puffs from time to time. But I just get too distracted. All right, so. All right, so let me tell you about the beginning of my Dunhill journey. So first of all, and that's probably something that you can also relate to, but I like to cheer for the underdog, right? And Dunhill is probably the furthest away from an underdog. And even though there are more expensive pipes, they're like no other pipes that are so overpriced as Dunhills. This is one of the reasons why for the longest time, I didn't want to have a Dunhill. I didn't want to find a nice Dunhill that I'll keep, but I was ready for it. I mean, what saved me for the longest time is exactly this pipe. I think that was my second or third estate pipe that I kept for myself. And it is, I would call it like, it's a low grade. Even if it's like a Parker or a Comois, it's like a sub brand or a second. It has a dark stain, sandblasted pipe, but it smokes incredibly well. Like at the time, I think I had I for sure had my 03S Peterson Spigot, and although that pipe smokes really well, and in some cases outsmokes this one, like this was my first unicorn pipe where whatever you put in it, it just smokes perfectly. And not only this, I kind of like symbolically didn't, oh, we have like a ambulance, I hope you don't hear, but kind of symbolically I never finished the restoration. Again, in my last video, I mentioned that when I restore pipes for you, I do full restorations, right? Complete, perfect. But when it comes to my personal pipes, I like to do like a 2 or even sometimes 3-stage restoration. So with the first stage, I'll just bring it, let's say 70-80% there, so where the pipe is smokable, it's clean, and I can enjoy it. And after that, whenever the stem gets oxidized and I have to clean it, then I do the rest. And in this case, there's like a stem repair that it is repaired, but it's not like polished to the point where you can't see the repair anymore. And I was so impressed by how good this pipe is and how cheap it is, that I wanted to keep it this way. I didn't want to like shine it up and make it like all beautiful. And I wanted to be like this scruffy pipe that plays the role of a gatekeeper to a lot more expensive pipes in my collection. That's exactly what it did. It did it probably for like 6 months, 5 months. I would get Dunhills, I would restore them, I would smoke them, and they will not come even close to this one. So it was so easy for me to be like, no, I don't want this Dunhill, I can just resell it. And I'm very, very happy for not having Dunhills in my collection. But as you'd imagine, that changed at one point, and you would think that the first Dunhill that I got was a better smoker than this one. It wasn't, and it still isn't. But it was a special one. And when I say a special one, it is a birth year Dunhill, and I know every single person has their first Dunhill, or most people have their first Dunhill be a birth year Dunhill. But you're gonna see it is a Spigot. It is a really nice pipe. So I just had to. So anyway, I have my notes here out of frame, and I'm gonna go through all the pipes. I'm not gonna do it in any specific order. I can see that I put some logic into the order. So the first couple of pipes are gonna be like the first pipes that I got. Then we have a couple of similar shapes. Then we have the middle ones. And I gotta say the last 5 pipes are, yeah, those are some really, really special and cool pipes. So yeah, make sure to grab a pipe or popcorn or something, because that's not gonna be like a short episode. 15 pipes with a lot to tell. Let's see. Yeah, it's gone. I will not give this up. I will learn how to do it. Like yesterday, I saw a new channel, new for me pipe channel, and the gentleman there, he smoked so naturally and well as a presenter. I guess he has a lot of experience, but he would move the pipe. He will not care, right? You look at him and he doesn't care. And then I switched to another video where he would smoke with his wife, and the video starts with them literally for 5 minutes, every like a couple of seconds relighting the pipe. And then I realized, well, that might be my problem, that every single time when I come on video, this is where I do the like initial lighting of the pipe, and that's a bad idea because it needs a couple of relights to get it going. But anyway, I'm not giving up, and we're gonna see how this goes. So before I show you the first pipe, I just want to say that there is a lot that I want to talk about when it comes to Dunhill, but I'm gonna try to keep most of it for another video where we do a deep dive in the brand, right? So right now I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible, just showing you the pipe, telling you a little bit about it, and then we move on. All right, so the first pipe that we have is a really cool and nice Dunhill Spigot. It is a Bruyere. It is a 1988 pipe, which is a birth year pipe for me, and I got it from a trade. I mentioned this in my first video, and I'm just gonna mention it here as a reminder, but all of my pipes, not only the Dunhills, but every single pipe that I keep is an estate pipe. So it was either I traded it with someone, or I bought it off of eBay, or I bought it off of someone. It was never bought directly from a store brand new. I just have a couple of exceptions which I didn't buy. I traded them with people, but they came to me unsmoked, right? And they were smoked afterwards. It came to me in a obsession phase where I was completely and utterly obsessed with bent bulldogs. And although it was mainly Peterson 999s, I just couldn't resist the shape. As soon as I saw it, whatever brand it was, I just had to have it. I think at one point I had 70 or 80 different pipes from different brands that they were all the same shape, right? They were all bent bulldogs. And this pipe came from a trade with a friend, and it was the Bruyere Dunhill. And then I smoked it, right? Then I smoked it, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Like, again, it had to beat this pipe. In my rules, in my opinion, it had to beat the Parker in order to join the other pipes. Well, it didn't, but as I said before, some pipes get to cheat a little bit, and those are Spigots. And Bruyere pipes I don't care that much about, but come on, it's like a Dunhill. It is the perfect shape. It is a Spigot. It comes from a good friend of mine, and yeah, I was like, all right. And I gotta say, I just had to smoke it enough, right? I just had to smoke it enough to create the cake layer, and it completely transformed the pipe. And now it is a great smoker. I wouldn't even call it an exceptional smoker because it needs quite a lot of maintenance, right? I can't just smoke it like this one. I can smoke it fast, slow. I can make mistakes, and it doesn't matter, right? The pipe will perform. This one, you need to smoke really well. If you do, and it has the cake, it can give you a great smoking experience, right? But if you make a mistake, it will be too hot, or not every tobacco will smoke well in it. But I have to keep it, right? That's my first Dunhill. It's too much story involved and emotional stuff involved for me to not keep it. Okay, so let's move to the other one, which in my head I consider as my first Dunhill. I have a Dunhill 6P Root Briar from, this time I wrote the years here, the dating. It is from 1975, and this was, again, you can see a bent bulldog again in my face, and I got it in a lot, I think, in a lot with a couple other Dunhills, and I tried the other ones. Again, they were like the Bruyere line, and I didn't like them. They were like, I mean, every single time I gotta smoke a pipe a little bit more to get to the cake, but those very exceptional pipes, they will smoke really well even the first time, even without the cake. And again, in the previous video that I posted, I had the same experience with two brand new pipes. One was an Ashton, and the other one was a very old Comois, and both of them, they smoked very similarly to this pipe, and they had no cake. So again, unicorn level. But I was so sure before I smoked this pipe, I was so sure that it can't beat this Parker, because but literally right before I smoked it, I tried the other two Bruyers, and they were not even close. And then I got this guy, and I'm like, all right, let's go through another Dunhill and just resell it, and I don't have to care about keeping them. And I tried the Root Briar, and oh my god, it not only outperformed the Parker, but it outperformed it by a mile. It was so much better. It was, first of all, at the time I wasn't at all into straight pipes, and although this one is quite comfortable, right, it can't beat a bent pipe. And especially like this Root, it just falls into my mouth like so easily, and it fits perfectly. And how it smoked, it stayed cool through the whole first bowl. Whatever it was, the flavor was so nice, and the pipe was a lot lighter in the beginning. And that's another pet peeve of mine. I love unstained pipes, right? I love unstained pipes because they color similar to meerschaum or lightly naturally stained pipes, and it just ticked so many boxes. And I do remember that at the time I didn't have a lot of cash on hand, and that's another weird thing to say. Like, you're gonna hear it through the whole collection series. I'm gonna say, well, I can't afford this pipe, but it is a little bit different when you're a pipe restorer, right? Like for if you're just like a pipe smoker that goes to a shop and buys a pipe, for you to have a pipe you need to afford it, right, to buy it. But with pipe restorers or traders, that's a little bit different. I can already have the pipe, but and maybe let's say I got super lucky and I paid 20 euros for this pipe, which I didn't for this one. But anyway, if I decide to keep it, that's basically like me paying whatever. Let's say I'm gonna sell it for 500 euros. So that's the price that I pay for this pipe for not selling it. So yeah, it is an interesting phenomena, and I'm like, come on, did it have to be like a root briar that I like so much and that I have to keep? But the pipe was just too good to let go, and I'm glad I didn't, because that was a pipe that I smoked for months, once a day, and even sometimes twice a day, which I never do, right? Because it's bad for the pipe. I mean, it's bad if you smoke it like smoke it twice or three times right after each other. And I know that you're supposed to like leave it for 24 hours before you smoke it again, but come on, sometimes after 10 hours I know that the pipe is cold, and I know the wood, and I know that everything is gonna be fine. So I even smoked it a couple of times per day. That's how much I love the pipe, and it's always performed perfectly. And I'm gonna show you later how the root briars like color, because this is quite a dark root briar. But yeah, that was my second pipe, and I would say this one got me in trouble with Dunhill, because all of a sudden I realized, hey, it's not that Dunhills are completely overhyped, they are overpriced. I would say that they're extremely overpriced, but this doesn't mean that they don't perform. And before this pipe I was like, oh yeah, Dunhills, they're good and everything, but they're not those, like, they don't have like those perfect smoking pipes like my Parker, like my €7 Parker or another Kumoy or something like this. And this pipe realized me, hey, that's not the case. And I've seen it with root briars. Like, root briars are very, very consistent for this, like, really, really nice performance. And I have some theories on why, but I'm gonna leave this for another video. So let me light up the Parker again. All right, so we're moving to another pipe, and we're still in the same shape. And when I say the same shape, I don't mean the exact same shape, but the bent Rhodesian one. And here we have another root briar. This one is just P shape, like the one before that was the 6P, and this is the P. Both of them are very beautiful pipes. Well, both of them are very beautiful pipes, but this one doesn't have the saddle stem, and it is a little bit more chubbier. A beautiful pipe. It smokes amazingly, again, as most root briars do. And this one, I believe, that I got from this friend of mine, where I got a lot more pipes. So that's what made it special for me. Not only, but as I said again, it's a root briar, which are the Dunhills that I love, and it smoked so nice. It was again very comfortable. Although I gotta say about this one, because and this is probably just for me, the way I smoke, I kind of let the pipe hang. I'm gonna call it like clenching, but I never clench a pipe. And this one is not the most comfortable one for me, because it has like a chubbier stem, where there isn't like the geometry is not right. I gotta pay way more attention to keep the pipe in my mouth. It's not like the other one, like the 6P. I don't feel this pipe. Like it stays, it fits everywhere. But this one, it's a little bit. It feels like slippery, right? I gotta be careful with it. But anyway, absolutely amazing smoker. Like any of the, like almost all of the Dunhills that you're gonna see from now on, they all outperform the Parker, which was already like a crazy good pipe. So all of them went through the whole process of elimination, and I gotta tell you, for me to grab a Dunhill to keep for me, for myself, there's probably been like 10 Dunhills that came before it that were rejected, just to find one to keep for myself. And actually I probably should have mentioned that earlier, but there is a couple of like those collection goals that I have that I mentioned in the very first video, but here with Dunhill, like I'm just gonna share a couple of them again. I would love to have for example, a pipe from every single decade. I would love to have a pipe from every single finish. I would love to have a spigot from every single finish. Again, special Dunhills. Like, I don't really care about the limited edition, but I guess that's how they got me with their marketing. Because for me, Dunhill is like 70% marketing. 70% marketing, 20% materials, like the Briar, the quality of the Briar, and the rest is pipe making. And yeah, but they didn't get me with their marketing on the level of, oh, Dunhill are so great because they're great. No, they got me in another way, where I'm always looking for those special pipes, and Dunhills are, for me, they're all the same, right? They all have this exact same quality standard, same materials almost all of the time, same shapes, very similar shapes. And when I see some that's a little bit different than the standard, I'm like, oh wow, I really want this. I'm very attracted to this pipe because that's a non-standard Dunhill, and that's how they got me. I'm gonna admit it, they got me with this. But here's my secret weapon. I'm really good at getting overhyped about a pipe, taking it in, and letting it go after, let's say, a month or two, when like all the emotions go down, and I'm like, oh, okay, that was a good pipe. I understand why I got so much into it. But you know what? There is another 30 euro pipe that I find very interesting. And for me to get this one in the collection, another pipe has to go. And you know what? This Dunhill, it can go. So I'm really good at this, and that's how I keep out of trouble. We have one more Bulldog, and then we're done with the shape, I think. Yeah. And this one is really interesting. So we have we have a tan shell bent Bulldog. The shape is a 3108. It's very similar to the P, I would say. I gotta check, maybe it is the P, but it is a group 3 smaller pipe. If by now you're probably gonna know that I like smaller pipes most of the time, and I do like the tan shell, right? I like the sandblasted pipes, but I don't care that much for dark stains. And when I say dark stains, I do like dark stains, but those completely black stains, like the shell. The shell is probably the least attractive line for me, and I know that it's like almost blasphemy because everybody loves the shell, and I do love the shell for its performance, and I think that the shell is better than any other or most other lines until we get to the root. And there are reasons for that that I can theorize and speculate on in another video. So make sure, if you aren't subscribed, to hit that button, and so we don't miss those videos when they come out. But yeah, there's just something about it that I don't find. It's like black. It's classic. It's an evergreen, and everything looks good. But then it becomes, everything is too black, right? And it gets boring. So why is this pipe so special? Again, got it from a close friend, so that's for me more than enough. But if we zoom in on the bottom of the pipe, you're gonna see some crazy stamps. And what are those stamps? So first of all, the year, this would be 1990. And when you see the stamps on the bottom, you're gonna see some crazy stuff. You're gonna see a giant not for sale stamp over the already existing stamps and the C at the end. And a lot of people are speculating about what do those stamps mean, right? Is it a reject? Is it not? And yeah, Dunhill have rejects, but also Dunhill has seconds, thirds, fourths, and even fifths when it comes to like companies. So their rejects, they don't go as Dunhill rejects and get thrown or sold. But I've managed to find evidence for a couple of theories, right? One of the biggest theories, like those were pipes that were gifted from the factory, and that one is 100% true. The other theories that I found out, they're not like excluding this one, they're part of it, but they just add to it. So basically, if somebody, let's say a tobacconist, goes to the factory on a tour or a meeting or whatever the reason might be, and the people from the factory want to gift him a pipe, and let's say they pick up this one and it's completely fine, everything is like ready to be shipped or whatever, they would stamp it with not for sale and they would gift it to them. You can imagine all the different ways they could gift pipes, like if somebody makes an order, let's say of 200 pipes, like a shop or whatever, they might include like one or two of those. But I've also seen another scenario, which is quite funny, and it's like almost bordering the reject theory, but not really, where you're gonna see a perfectly good Dunhill pipe, but somebody messed up the stamps on it. So there's nothing about the pipe that should be rejected, but I've seen it was either a 10 shell that was just stamped shell or the other way around, and I've seen quite a lot of shape number mistakes, and they were most of the time, for example, it is a 3108 pipe, which is the code for the bent bulldog, but in the group 3 shape, like in the group 3 size, but they stamped it with the group 4, like 4108 or something like this. And although I gotta say, you can sell a pipe that's group 4 as a group 3, but again, it's Dunhill, so they had really high quality standards when it comes to those things. So in those cases, like why throw away the pipe or do whatever with it? Just stamp it not for sale, put it somewhere, and on the next tour when somebody comes, or just send it to a tobacconist. So yeah, anyway, those are quite rare Dunhills, and I find it so funny on eBay how those pipes will sell for so cheap and people will not buy them because they don't trust it, and they're like, is this a fake? What is it? And at the same time, people like me would just grab this pipe and know that they get like a very special and interesting Dunhill for a discounted price even. And this is where like knowledge about pipes can actually be measured in monetary value, right? So get your education up about pipes if you're wanting to get like good discounts and stuff. All right, so we're moving to another pipe, a beautiful Cumberland, quite modern. Let me just check the date that I wrote, 1998. And this is a pipe that I would normally not be that interested in because it's like such a standard shape, but it was like my first Cumberland, and I'm like, oh, let me just add this Cumberland so I can have like one of those like one of the finishes, and although it doesn't feel so special, I'm just gonna keep it until I find the special one, right? But this pipe, I think that was right when I had this mentality switch where I would just like bent pipes, right? No straight pipes whatsoever. And at the time when I got this one, I'm like, oh, this is actually a very nice, attractive pipe. First of all, I really like the finish on it, the sandblast, and also the dimensions. I really love those elegant elegant shanks. For example, if you see this pipe, this is the 3103 straight billiard, and if that was a group 4, I wouldn't have liked it. Like I would have still liked it, but being a 3, it gives it this slender profile, and I love Cumberland, right? I love Cumberland. It has like this very nice warm finish. You can see like some streaks, really nice streaks in the sandblast. And I know that people love let's say ring grains or straight grains, and I do love those, but there is one more finish or another finish that I like even more, and that's when it's a little bit more chaotic, but it's hard to explain. I like it when it's so different that depending on the angle of which you look at the pipe, you see a completely different picture, right? It's crazy. It's like a completely different pipe, and that's something that I really enjoy. And another thing that could be like a little bit of a controversial opinion, but I know that a lot of people that are into sandblasted Dunhill finishes, they really don't like, for some reason, when the rim is smooth. And I really like the combination of smooth and sandblast, right, finishes. And I know that sometimes it's done to cover up some flaws, and I don't care about this. I just care that I like how the pipe looks. So this was a pipe that I didn't care so much about it. It stood probably like 1 month in my collection, and it just stood there. It was never smoked. And one day I was like, oh, you know what, let me give those straight pipes a try. And I picked it up, and I had zero expectations about it because it was also like quite modern. And I smoked it. I'm like, oh goddamn, that's another unicorn smoker, right? What do I do with this? Now I have to keep it. That was so nice to have like a pipe where I'm like, oh, if something new comes up, normally it's such a hassle to figure out. Oh, if there's 2 pipes that I really want to add to the collection, that means that I gotta figure out which 2 should go. There's another ambulance. Sorry for the interruption, but yeah, I have to figure out which 2 should go, and it's always so hard. And it felt so nice to have a couple of pipes on the racks where I'm like, yeah, of course, that's like what, 300-400 euro pipes. So as soon as I see something, I can easily just put this on the website, sell it, and get the other pipe. But then I smoked, and I'm like, oh, and I love how it sits. It's super comfortable. I gotta remember to do all this. Like, again, you can't feel it. It's so light. It smokes so well, and I love everything about it, right? And although it looks boring, but for me it's like very, very nice pipe. All of those pipes are very special, but I gotta say we have 2 more really nice pipes, and after that we bump it up a notch and we go into crazy town when it comes to like especially like value of the pipes, price, also like rarity. Yeah, it goes a little bit crazy, but let me show you the next 2. And for the grain lovers, those are gonna be amazing pipes, and especially not for the straight grain lovers. I do like straight grain as much as the other guy, but as I said, I have a little bit of a different taste, and I gotta say I do enjoy bird's eye more than straight grain. And the next 2 pipes have the most insane bird's eye that I've ever seen. So I kind of want to show those off at the same time because they're a very similar shape, and I really wanted to show you how the finish, the root briar finish changes color with smoking, and it's surprisingly fast. Literally after like 10 or 20 bowls, you're gonna get a lot more darkening. So both of the pipes are quite smoked, but one of them is smoked a lot more than the other. So let me just grab the second one. So both of them are very similar shapes, group 5 root briars, straight pipes. And just look, I don't know how can I show it to you. I don't know if you can see it, but just look at the color difference. Like the top one almost looks like a Bruyere, but yeah. So let me show off the first one. It is a 51033 from, and this is extremely hard for me to read, even magnified. So it's either 1978 or 1979, and just look at that, like the grain across the whole pipe, it's really nice, but just look at the eyes on the shank. Both of those pipes I've named with a very like tacky and trashy, I would call, nickname, but that's what comes to mind. And those are both the Gucci Dunhills, because it looks like a leopard print. Like it's so crazy looking, those eyes, that they look like almost a leopard print. And especially on the darker one, just look at this one. It's spotted all over, and they're both amazing smokers, and they both come from special places for me. The darker one again comes from the same friend that I got quite a few pipes from, and the lighter one comes from the late German actor Horst Jansson. I really hope I'm not butchering the name, but he passed away in 2025, and I luckily found his collection of 13 pipes, I think, which I'm gonna make a video about, because it's so interesting to see a public figure, although I didn't know who he was, but then I did some research. But it's so interesting to see someone else's collection, and especially if you don't know much about them and they don't talk as much as me. So you get a feeling that you can tell a lot about the person just from the pipes that he had and how he handled them. But yeah, he had a really, really nice collection with 13 pipes, but they were all really, really cool pipes. But I don't think I'm gonna hold to both of those pipes for long, because they're too big for me. I don't smoke group 5s, group 6 or bigger pipes. I do have a couple that are this big or even bigger, and those are like the special occasion pipes, but I don't like to keep that many of them. So one of them is definitely gonna go on the website. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna hold on to the darker one, and because as I said, I have a lot of personal pipes from the guy that I bought this pipe, and I would love to keep them together as much as possible. So with those pipes done, oh sorry, the darker root Briar, that was a 0513, and that was from 1975. So I just need a short break where I relight my pipe, and yeah, before we dip into Crazy Town with the next pipes. Let me just take a minute to tell you something. I'll probably shoot the rest of the pipes very, very soon, like maybe tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, because quite a lot of pipes are leaving my collection right now, and I don't want for a pipe to leave. I need to have it here to film everything. But yeah, the last episodes, after I'm done with all the pipes, they're gonna be like one episode of all the pipes that are leaving my collection, and why. Like, as I just told you, right now that will be the reason for one of those big roots to leave, because they're too big. I don't smoke them that often, so they don't get appreciated here at this home. So they need to find a better place where they will be appreciated way more. Why did we start whistling all of a sudden? Stay tuned for that. I can't wait to show you the episode after that, like after the one with the pipes that are leaving, because that's gonna be all the pipes that are coming in as new pipes, and they're still unrestored. But there we have also some craziness, like craziness not in the value aspect, but more like crazy pipes, crazy looking pipes from interesting brands. And yeah, we have, I think, 7 more pipes. Those are gonna be in ascending order of for like rarity, specialness, or whatever. And so we're starting with the least special one, and that least special one is a Dunhill shell spigot. This one is a 4102, and it is very interesting. First of all, the grain is really nice. I wouldn't call it a ring grain, but it definitely has a really nice pattern to it. It is a 9mm spigot, which I don't care much about, and actually for me it takes away from this pipe, because we have Les Wood's beautiful design on the spigot, and it's kind of ruined by having like I will even call it like a fat ferrule or a fat spigot at this point, just to be able to accommodate the 9mm filter. But this pipe is very interesting because it's practically undateable, which is unheard of when we're talking about Dunhills, right? Because of their like warranty. The hallmarks, first of all, it doesn't have any smooth patch on the pipe where there is like a stamp on the Briar, which is completely fine. But then you need to have all the information like hallmarks on usually I would say on both the stem and the ferrule, and we do, but we have the scale symbol. And the scale symbol, it's hard to remember right now, like all the specific information, but we're gonna get into it in another video for sure. But it was like kind of an attempt to standardize some things, and it was some kind of an association of silversmiths in Europe. And for example, Peterson also used this stamp, but with Peterson's it's a lot more dateable because they used it like 90% of the case in one specific year, and I think I found one more pipe where they used it in a different year. So for a Peterson, if you see it, I can probably tell you like with very good accuracy which year it was used, and if the line like of the pipe and the release works with that, perfect. If not, then that's how you get the second date. If you know that a pipe for sure was released in 2000, has the scales, that's your evidence that the stamp was used in that year. But when you try to do this about Dunhill and do the research about Dunhill, you end up with 7 or 8 different years, and they're like all in the like starting from 86 I think until 2000 or 2002. So I have an era for this pipe, but I have no idea what year exactly it is from. It is an absurdly good smoker. It's a very like also comfortable pipe. It is a spigot, which I really love, that it's like added value for me, not monetary value, but like this emotional or special thing about it. So yeah, that's great. That's great. I don't really appreciate the 9mm, and as I said, it retracts a little bit from the pipe for me. But what can you do? It is a spigot. It is a shell spigot, which is my only shell spigot. So for now it stays. I don't know. So far we have a Bruyere spigot and a shell spigot, and now we continue with a very modern pipe, right? It's a Cumberland spigot, again almost undateable, although it has the hallmarks, but they were buffed out by somebody that restored the pipe before me, which I don't appreciate, but I guess it's fine. All I know that it's from like later than the 2000s, because it has the Alfred Dunhills the white spot logo on it, and you can already see how much more elegant it looks. And sorry, it is a 3102. So basically the same shape as the shell spigot, but a little bit smaller. But you can already see when you lack the filter how much more elegant the whole stem transition looks, right? For me that's a giant difference. But I love like the Cumberland stem, the Cumberland spigot, and it is again a perfect smoker. It is even more comfortable than the shell, and the shell the button on the stem is a little bit rounded, like not to the point where it's like problematic at all, but with my way of smoking, sharp edges definitely help, and it makes it practically like effortless to hold a pipe in my mouth. But yeah, amazing pipe. No special story about it. And again, as I said, there will be some exceptions to my rules, and most of the time it will be a Spigot. Like, we're already in crazy town when it comes to like value of those pipes, because Dunhill spigots, like spigots in general, are more expensive, but Dunhill spigots, they push the envelope even harder. This next pipe is nasty. It is nasty because this is probably my most smoked pipe out of every single one. And as I said, so far none of those pipes could beat the whatever first 6p route that I showed you. And we have yet another exponential jump in smoking capabilities. So we have a Dunhill shape R root Briar with a textured gold band. And as I said, this is special in so many ways. First of all, it almost doubles the performance of the last Dunhill, like the 6p root Briar, which was already beyond amazing. This is even better. Like, this pipe will not get warm. Not talking hot. It will not get warm in my hand while I smoke whatever tobacco. Again, all those factors, but just double them somehow. And it is so weird because when I got it, the pipe smoked so hot. It was crazy. You would literally like smoke 3-4 minutes and the whole pipe would get hot. And as soon as I pushed through, and I'm like, this can't be true, like this pipe should smoke a lot better. As soon as the cake layer was formed, like a substantial cake layer, the pipe transformed completely. And why is it so special? First of all, how I got it is I'm gonna call it special, though if I gotta be honest, it was a little bit frustrating. I'm not gonna get into it, but it was like misunderstanding with because we as friends, we like to share pipes. Hey, look at this pipe that I'm looking at, I want to buy, and oh, you bought it now because I told you. And yeah, there was a little bit of drama, but I got it, and I won't say that I got it for cheap, because whatever, like at first it was 300 and something, but then I got it in a trade where I gave more than that in the trade. But this should be a way more expensive pipe. But what happened here is there is a small mismatch in the stamps. So the person who was selling it on the website, it wasn't an eBay, it was a restorer, a pipe trader, I would guess got confused about a couple of things, and I'm pretty sure he thought that this was a non-original band. And especially like with Dunhills, they like, if you send a pipe, that's complete speculation station topic. But in my experience, from what I've seen, almost all of their repair bands, if you send a pipe to Dunhill, they'll put a gold repair band. So people are a little bit cautious about those. And if you see in the close-ups, the band goes really close to the stamp, but it doesn't go over, right? And then also you're gonna see that the band is completely flush with the wood. This means that there was a little bit of wood taken out, a little bit of material taken out, so it will fit perfectly, this band. And that's something that Dunhill will do in the production of a pipe, not in a repair. So not only this, but probably the next thing that confused the guy selling it is that there are two ways to date a Dunhill, right? One is if it has silver, or in this case gold, is the hallmarks, and the other way is the date stamp. And if we look at the date stamp on this pipe, you're gonna date it to 1971, right? But then if you look at the hallmarks on the gold band, you see 1970. And this was for the trader, I would assume, 100% sure mark that this is a repair. But it isn't. It happens so often, because you got to realize those bands, they are stamped by the silver assay. I have no idea how you pronounce this word. But what Dunhill will do is that they're not going to send the pipe for stamping. They're going to send, like, let's say 300 of those bands, like different bands. And let's say they send them in 1970 December, so they have to stamp it in the 1970 date, right? Stamp. But then the Stummel was made in 1971, and that's why it got the 1971 stamp on it. And after that, you get those, like when you put them together, you get this discrepancy. But whatever it is, I managed to get it for a really nice price. Not only this, but you can see a really nice flame grain. Yeah, it is a little bit straightish flame grain, and I have no idea if I can pick it up on the close-ups, but I love that they didn't completely sand or polish the surface where the whole grain will go away. You can see through the flame grain, you can see basically a perfect ring grain, like a relief showing through the surface. And yeah, and when we add the whole performance of the pipe, the perfect shape, and that's something that I love. That's my perfect combination when we're talking about dimensions of a pipe, is when I get stubbier, not really stubbier, I'm gonna call it like a shorter pipe, but with either an oversized or a regular sized bowl, right? Like that's the perfect combination for me. I also like small pipes where the pipe is small and the bowl is small, but I love this specific like dimensions combination, shorter pipe with big bowl. It's amazing. And as I said, this pipe I smoke every single day, although I haven't smoked it for 2-3 days because of the new pipes that I got, like 2 new pipes that are absolutely amazing, and I'll have to like give them some more time to see how they perform in comparison to this one. So maybe we have a new best smoking pipe. Okay, all right, so we're moving to the next pipe, and as I said, we're deeply in crazy down here, and you're gonna see what I mean. Like so far we saw quite a lot of Dunhills, and when it comes to shapes, all right, the spigots I find different, right, because it's a spigot. But you saw the other shapes. Yeah, we have bent bulldogs. They're all very, very classic, very traditional. We have the straight pipes, very classic, very traditional. And the next 2 pipes are also going to be very classic and traditional shapes, but the models are quite special. Like the edition is quite special, and the size, again, size could be a giant factor when it comes to the appearance of a pipe, and how special the appearance is. So we have a Dunhill Duke Street A. It is a mini straight billiard, and it does look very retro. It isn't very retro, although it is from 1985. That's the Model 3. And those pipes, they're commemorative pipes. So basically they are Dunhill made replica of their first pipes. I'm not sure if that's like the first pipes, but basically the pipes that they would make in 1910. And they have all silver mounts. It is a mini tiny pipe. Sorry, at the back it says 75 years of pipe craftsmanship. And as I said, this is the Model 3 of it. It is, come on, like imagine you going on a pipe meet, and there's a bunch of Dunhill fans, and they come with their like, even with like special spigots and root briars, and yeah, let's even kick it up a notch. Let's say they go with like a DR 3-star 5-star Dunhill like root briar, like, or dead root, sorry. That's like a pipe for 3,000-4,000 euros, and you come with this guy. You're gonna be the star of the show with this small Dunhill. It will be more interesting than the whatever crazy looking dead root, and it smokes perfectly. It is very comfortable, although I gotta say it has this, at least for me again, this very rounded chubby stem, which is normally not that optimal, but the pipe is so small and lightweight that it doesn't matter at all. So it is an absolutely amazing pipe, one of my favorite pipes altogether. And this is exactly what I meant, that Dunhill got me with their marketing, because as soon as I see something that's a little bit different, and this is a lot different than their standard ones, I'm hooked. I just gotta have it. All right, so next pipe. Another Dunhill Duke Street A from the same release. It is 75 years of pipe craftsmanship, and this is the shape number 1, which is a small bent army mount, right? And you can see those pipes don't have the white spot on the stem, because in the beginning Dunhill didn't have the white spot. So those are like true commemorative editions and true replicas. Although the hallmarks are specific, or they're accurate for the year that they were produced, which is 1985. Everything that I said about the last pipe applies here 100%. Still even more comfortable pipe, I gotta say, because of the bent stem. And again, it is so special that I'm telling you, it will, in my eyes, this is more special than any dead root that you can get. And when it comes to value for those pipes, I think they were around 1,500 euros brand new. So we're already in crazy town. And yeah, the comparison with the dead root isn't, there isn't a giant difference in value, but yeah, those are some amazing pipes. And normally I don't like keeping, not that I don't like, I can't afford keeping so expensive pipes, but those were so special that I'm like, I will keep them as long as I can. All right, so how can we beat this kind of craziness? Because I told you the last 7 pipes or 5 pipes, they will grow exponentially when it comes to the special sauce, the special factor. Before I show you this next pipe, I want to come back to another to show you a difference. And again, I'm not gonna go too deep into this because I want to do a specific video about this subject too. And this is why I prefer older pipes, not only estates, but I do prefer older estates. And there's multiple reasons, but I'm just gonna show you one. So do you remember the not for sale tan shell? And as you can see, it has a really nice finish, sandblasted finish, and that's the tan shell from 98, I think. And now let me show you. that's one of my craziest looking pipes. Let me show you a tan shell, but this one is from 1954, I think. And we have, sorry, I just gotta read it before I show you, shape number 59, and it is a straight billiard. And oh my god, just look at the finish of this pipe. It is so gnarly, it is so deep, ring grainy, it is so organic, right? When you see those new ones, I would call them muddy even in comparison to this. You can see how much definition this pipe has, and you can't imagine how lightweight it is. It is like unnaturally lightweight in my hand. So as you can see, this is a patent, a Dunhill patent, and yeah, that's from 1954, and I'm pretty sure that the patent ended in the later 50s. Let's say that from the 60s they started with the regular stamps. I'm pretty sure it was a little bit before, but just look at the crazy finish on this pipe. And it is an amazing smoker. It is exceptionally lightweight. I can't feel it, although this is quite a big pipe. That's a group 4. A group 4 is pushing it a little bit for me, but in size. But weight, it's like almost non-existent, right? So that's my first Dunhill patent. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, nothing is gonna beat this tan shell that we just saw, like when it comes to dramatic sandblast or dramatic finish. But the next two and the last two Dunhills, if I haven't forgotten any, but I guess we'll see, they all have a very dramatic finish, right? And they're both shells, and they're both from the 20s. So the next pipe that we're gonna see is a shape 37, I think, and that's gonna be like a group 3 Dunhills shell. So it wasn't even called shell Briar, I think, at this point. And this is a double pattern pipe from 1929. It has 2 patterns on it. One of them is for the sandblasted finish. That was Dunhill's patent, and the second one was for the inner tube, the aluminum inner tube that was inside. And again, a really, really nice smoker. Although I gotta say, for this and the next pipe, I haven't smoked too much, so they don't even have like the first layer of cake, so they don't perform as well as other pipes. But the initial bowls, absolutely amazing. And as you can see, hopefully in the close-ups, again, we have this very uneven finish where you would get like different scenes depending on the angle that you look at the pipe. It's like a landscape with I don't know. It is stunning. It is stunning, especially in comparison to the modern ones. And again, you get this kind of very organic, deep and gnarly pattern because of many reasons, but let's say one of them is the wood quality. You get the Algerian Briar, like the really old Algerian Briar. That was a very soft wood, and I have it on the first Dunhill, the 6P. It has basically very similar wood to it, and you can scratch it or dent it with your nail. That's how soft it is. And when you combine this with the old school sandblasting methods, where they would use a completely different pump in comparison to modern days air pump, and they would also use actual sand. And the new sandblast, they don't use sand anymore. They use like some kind of substracts and other abrasives like glass. They have different materials, and you don't get this kind of a dramatic finish anymore, or very rarely. So this pipe, 1997, that's 1929. This would make it a 97 years old Dunhill, which I gotta say is one of the reasons why when I say a limited pipe, right, what most people understand is like, all right, it's probably a Peterson. Let's say Peterson, for example, it's going to be like a limited release. There's going to be a stamp number 130 out of 150, for example. And yes, that is limited, but for me, that kind of limited edition doesn't mean much, right? Because I'm sure that Peterson, for example, if they wanted, or Dunhill, if they wanted, they could have produced 5,000 of that exact same pipe, but they decided to limit it to, let's say, 150, which I do get. It is still limited, but here we're talking about some naturally limited pipes. Like, how many 100-year-old Dunhills do you think are left? How many of them would be in a nice condition? Like that's insane, and there are going to be so few of them that you already know that it's extremely limited. And that's why I put a lot more value on those pipes in comparison to, let's say, a Dunhill Christmas edition that costs crazy money and it's limited. Yeah, and they're nice, and I like everything about them, but you know what? I can get one of those. I can get, if I wanted, I can get one of those right now. I can just call up friends. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find a pipe. I'll have to pay through the nose for it, but I can get this pipe. And you can do the same thing about some of those pipes. Like, just imagine if I tell you, hey, all right, get a 100-year-old Dunhill. No way. Like, I don't know who to ask, and even if I know who to ask, there's a very big probability that they will not sell this pipe, they will not trade this pipe. Yeah, so that's how those pipes get so limited, naturally limited. And talking about 100-year-old Dunhills, the last pipe that I'm gonna show you is one of those. It is a Dunhills shell 112/1, and it is a Group 1 Dunhill shell And just look at the condition of this pipe. I got it in a trade. Sorry, again, double patent from 1923, which makes it 103 years old. It is absolutely amazing. Very, very lightweight. I forgot to tell you about those pipes, but the previous one from 1929 was 25 grams. The whole pipe with the inner tube in it. So vulcanite stem, the Briar, and the inner tube, 25 grams, group 3. This one, 20 grams. That's nothing. Some of my spigots are like 60, 70 grams. That's 20. It feels like nothing. And this pipe, I gotta ask the person that I got it from, but maybe he wouldn't know. When I got it, I'm sure that it was either unsmoked, which is insane for a pipe this old. Either unsmoked or it was barely smoked a couple of times. And after that I smoked it, I think twice only. And why twice only? Because again, this is a pipe that I'm pretty sure that I can't afford. I can't afford to keep it. They're very, very expensive. And I know that a lot of people will treasure this condition of the pipe, right? And I don't want to like ruin it. And I do enjoy it and I do appreciate it. And I do appreciate this pipe quite a lot. But at the same time, it is not high enough where I can confidently say, you know what, this pipe stays with me, because with me it's going to be appreciated the best. I'm pretty sure there are people that would be a lot more happier than me by having this pipe. But again, if you see the whole surface here, we don't get this like ultra deep sandblast, but it is still very deep and it's very gnarly. It's sharp, looking sharp, feeling, and it's really nice. And I love the whole knot that you can see like on the transition between the shank and the bowl, where you can see like some circular grain that it's a little bit more smooth. It was like hard, so the sandblasting didn't do much about it. But yeah, absolutely lovely pipe. That's all the Dunhills that I have. A lot of Dunhills have left my collection, and that's giving me another idea. Maybe in one of the extra videos, I don't have the pipes anymore, but I have really nice photos of them. I might go through, but very fast, through some pipes that I've let go, because it's actually something that I'm proud of, right? That I managed to pass those pipes on to other people for different reasons, right? But most of the time it's like this specific reason that I mentioned about the last Dunhill, is that I see or I feel that somebody's gonna appreciate that pipe more than me. So definitely we're gonna do that. There's some more Dunhills. I know of 2 or 3 Dunhills that are joining, and they're waiting just for restoration. And yeah, as you can see, no Christmas edition Dunhills, no dead roots, although around Christmas 2025, so a couple of months ago, I found a dead root. It was quite a modern pipe, and I remember that I bought it just to resell because it was a good price, and it was 2 flames, so it was the flame grain, and that was one of the best smoking pipes that I've ever had. And it was the K shape, which is the straight apple shape, which is one of the most attractive Dunhill shapes in my opinion. And that pipe, I just got a really good offer on it, and I sold it, and I still regret selling it. But this being said, I have right now on the website one root Briar, a regular root Briar, again K, which I'm telling you that's a dead root K Briar. So it has a nice flame grain. It has also a different, little bit different stain. It was like amber flame. I just have a feeling that that's not a real root Briar, although it was stamped as root Briar, and I've put it on the website, and I even wrote it there. Hey, I give this pipe like 1 month, and if it doesn't get bought, it will stay with me. So hopefully that will help me with some seller regret that I have for Dunhills. But as you can see, for me it's very hard to add any more Dunhills, because first of all, I have this whole thing about I don't want to add Dunhills, I don't want to like Dunhills, but hey, they're given a good chance, and if they prove good, like all of those pipes, so it's actually so hard to find a special Dunhill. Yeah, so I don't know what the next one will be. There are a couple of Christmas editions that I really want to have because I like the pipe itself, and I just don't know what will happen if I decide to sell the two patents. What will happen with my whole idea of having like one Dunhill from every single decade, because those are crazy hard to get your hands on. And I might just sell one of them, the other one I'm gonna leave. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I really hope that you enjoyed this video and you learned something about Dunhills. In at the same time, you learned how they're not that special, but they can also be extremely special, and that applies to every single brand out there. You can do this for Peterson, you can do this for Winslow's, or for Crazy Towels, or whatever brand it is. They will have bad pipes, they'll have good pipes. What I like about Dunhill is that they have a very high quality level and quality standard. Also the materials that they have are really nice. So there's a very big chance that whatever Dunhill you get, you're gonna get a really nice pipe. But the whole thing is, I'm not into really nice pipes anymore. I'm wanting more than this. And it doesn't mean more money, right? It needs to be special. So yeah, I hope you learned something, you enjoyed it. I hope that it helps you see your collection better, or in another way, or appreciate your pipes more, or figure out which of your pipes are just possessions that don't have a lot of meaning to you, and it helps you get rid of them and replace them with something even more interesting. But anyway, I'm gonna leave you with this. I have no idea how long the video was, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you did too. And I'm gonna see you in the next video. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it out. It's probably coming after a couple of days. Bye bye and have a nice week.